So game review of Diablo 4. Um, it's kind of funny because I just reviewed Roblox Blox Fruits, which is like kind of like you'd think it's a totally different game than Diablo 4, but and I kind of was kind of harsh about how pointless some of the grinding was. But if you think about it, Diablo 4 has like a lot of the same elements, right? Like there's a lot of sort of just um sort of going through dungeons, killing things, and it's like the same setup for the dungeon. I guess maybe it's sort of overall it's a more interesting way to go about it, right? Because there's like treasure at the end. You can fit yourself with items. Um, yeah, so there's a lot of technical aspects of the game that I do want to discuss, but ultimately the reason I play Diablo 4 is like I play it to sort of basically spend time with my dad, which is like um probably the best part of the game. Okay. Um, but yeah, so that will overwhelm any of the other factors that I talk about in terms of my experience of Diablo 4. So even if the game was totally bad, like I would still play it for that reason. Okay. But the game itself, okay, is actually it's kind of interesting. It's a little bit different than the original Diablos that we grew up with. It's more like a massive multiplayer, online multiplayer kind of environment, which I didn't grow up with, but existed in other games that I didn't play. And so like it's a big world and everyone's in it. So that's good and bad. So like I think that's better if you're like sort of strangers to everyone there, like you kind of meet more people on in the game itself. But I feel like if you already know a lot of the people you're playing with, I feel like it might be more fun to have a more like a linear storyline and have a co-op mode that you can all experience together. Than just kind of like existing eternally in this world, which is kind of it's a little bit overwhelming because like I don't spend very much time playing the game. I spend like basically just like a couple of hours on Friday and Saturday playing the game. So I don't really have time to get into like all the nuances. I kind of just want to just go. Like I don't have time to optimize my equipment. I don't have time to optimize my abilities. Like I have almost not enough time to even watch someone tell me how to optimize them. Though I've done it a few times. So I'm kind of just there. I'm trying to get like the simplest version of the game. So just keep that in mind. And but it's not really a game that's ideal for that. I think you do want like part of the enjoyment of the game is really taking your time to upgrade your items, optimize your items, switch out the abilities, and try to build a character and all this kind of stuff. Um, and so in terms of that, I guess um, so for me, I really need there to be lots of different kind of dynamics to keep it interesting. And I think there's actually a lot. So just like doing the dungeons, doing the world boss, doing the campaign. So I guess the campaign was very confusing. It wasn't like a story, and it was almost like I had to fight a tendency to skip all the cutscenes just for completeness. Um, okay, so what about educational value? Like, would I recommend like a student to play this game? So it was very funny. Like when I was actually a PhD student, I didn't have time to play games, but I kind of had the craving to play games. And so what I did was I watched videos of other people playing games, and maybe now I understand why these things exist. But I watched the videos of other people playing games, and I kind of really fast forwarded through it. So it was almost as if like I experienced the whole game myself, like through them. But like in the tenth of the time it would have taken me, so I kind of saved time in that respect. Um, yeah. So at one extreme, like no game is educational. You just have to stop playing games to achieve the goals that you have. Um, but at the other extreme, like you actually have time to play games, and you want to spend the time on the best games. You don't want to waste your time playing stupid games. And so would I recommend Diablo 4 to students? Um, I don't think I would. Not to young students. Okay, like I mean, obviously it's good, to play with your friends, but any game can give you that. But for a young student to kind of get lost in the world of Diablo 4, maybe it sounds like World of Warcraft vibes now that I'm thinking about it. Um, and and no one forces them to understand sort of like the optimization of the items based on mathematical principles. And so then you're kind of just doing it from experience and hearsay. I don't think it's that valuable for young students to get consumed by games like this. You know, um, let's see, like yeah, I think people are better off if they are to be consumed by games, maybe more competitive games like StarCraft or something, where like you kind of get a bit more, like, you get like a sporting experience or something, um, or like sort of adventure games where like it's very interesting, but it kind of finishes. So like the games I play, like Monkey Island and like Sherlock Holmes and this kind of stuff. Diablo 4, if all your friends are into it and you're playing with them, maybe that's fine. But as a game on its own, you're just playing by yourself. As a student, I don't think it's worth the time. Because it requires such a large amount of time, I think. And yeah, yeah. So I guess overall, I wouldn't recommend it for students, but um, yeah.